6 years ago, Tony was born with an eye problem. He was almost totally blind. His doctor had read in the New England Journal of Medicine of a new surgical procedure at Massachusetts General Hospital that might help. He sent the boy's medical record, and in due time, a decision was made to try the surgery. Tony had a favorite teddy bear he kept with him at all times. This teddy bear had begun to show signs of wear. One eye was missing, one ear was chewed off, and the stuffing was oozing out through several holes. Tony's dad offered to buy him a new one, but he didn't want a new one, so the old one went with him to Boston and remained close through all the x-rays, tests, and consultations. In fact, the boy and his teddy bear were not separated until the anesthesia was applied for the surgery itself. After the surgery was completed, Tony was heavily bandaged and had to remain still in a hospital for days. But each day the surgeon was in and out of the room to encourage him. Finally, the day came for removing the bandages. For the first time in 6 years, Tony could see. Though his vision was blurred at first, it gradually clarified, and for the first time Tony could look into the faces of his parents. Before long, it was time for Tony to be discharged and go home. On that final morning, the surgeon signed the necessary discharge papers and gave Tony a big hug and said, "Listen, I own stock in you. I expect to get letters from you regularly. Do you understand?" Then Tony did something totally unexpected. He said to his surgeon friend, "I want you to have this," and he handed him his teddy bear. The surgeon's first impulse was to say, "Oh no, I can't take that." But something stopped him. With a flash of sensitivity, the surgeon understood what Tony was trying to do. He wanted to give his dear surgeon friend the most precious gift at his disposal. So full was his heart with love. The wise surgeon accepted the teddy bear with a hug and a thank you, assuring Tony that he would take mighty good care of his friend. For over 10 years, that teddy bear sat in a glass case on the 10th floor, Massachusetts General Hospital. One eye missing, one half ear chewed off, and the stuffing oozing out of several holes. In front of the teddy bear was the surgeon's card, and just beneath his name he'd written this caption: "This is the highest fee I've ever received for professional services rendered." Now, let me break the spell of this story by adding that incident of mutual kindness in one place, in one city, in one country, took place during the Vietnam War, where life was being violently extinguished. In Africa, where tyrants were massacring millions of people, and fearful repressions and crimes were occurring all over. In the midst of all this global darkness, this teddy bear had shone as a light. It was a pinpoint of brightness, joined with millions of others, and it still remains a sign of God in His world. And that's why I tell the teddy bear story on Epiphany, a feast of revelation, light in the darkness, and travelers who followed the star to seek out that light that would make a difference. As someone said, the candle says to the darkness, "I beg to differ." The wise men want to differ with the world's darkness and not just bemoan its terrible state. They would be a candle, a sign of God's presence, and as such an example and a pattern for us. As we look at our dark world today, we too desperately seek the light. We must be that light and add to the witness of Tony and his teddy bear and his gentle surgeon. We know there was a dark cave in Afghanistan in the White Mountains of Tora Bora, where, stuffed with arms and weapons, a Muslim named Osama bin Laden was found hiding because there is a $25 million bounty on his head. We know of another cave in the Middle East in a little town called Bethlehem that has no weapons, only an animal or two, and now a husband and his pregnant wife. Here a child is born, a Prince of Peace, the light of the world. And so our question today is, how do we, like the wise men, travel from the caves of darkness in our world to the ones of light? I think you know the answer. One teddy bear at a time.